Welcome Pisces to your in-depth forecast for week commencing the 26th of February for the Sun or the Ascendant. If you're born in the first 10 days of the sign of Pisces, the last year may have seen you encountering a little bit of a lowering in vitality. The reason for this, of course, is Saturn. Saturn moved into your sign on the 7th of March. And because you're in that first decan, you will have taken or felt the impact of Saturn much more keenly. But what Saturn's been asking you to do, rather like when it's in the first house of a natal chart or a progress chart, is to simplify your life and to hone things down onto what's absolutely essential. So if there have been some peripheral interests or distractions in the past, that simplification then helps you to really put the energy you do have into the things that are absolutely critical. Now, of course, Saturn can be about structures. So if you've been building something over the last year, your patience and diligence will pay off for you in time, but it may have been a little bit of a tough hoe to balance other work demands whilst you're involved in some do-it-yourself projects. Perhaps you've been developing a business idea, an artistic interest, and so even if things have felt a bit slow and sluggish, you are going to see evidence of a build-up of progress. But this week, because we have a double cazimi on Wednesday in your sign, firstly with Mercury, then with Saturn, it would be possible, particularly if you are born at the start of Pisces, to feel that things are hard going and akin to walking through a field of glue. But part of the reason for this, I feel, Pisces, is not just Mercury being debilitated in your sign and Saturn applying to it. It is because Venus, Mars and Pluto are in your 12th house, which is very psychological. And there could be some things calling out for your attention that are more to do with the past, that are to do with your relationships, that could be to do with your subconscious, that may be something that's deeper down within you, Pluto, that you're not perhaps quite conscious of. So Saturn's asking you to achieve things in the here and now, the present, but there could be some things that still need some attention, despite Saturn really asking you to focus on those priorities. And because last week Venus and Jupiter were in a square, they're still in touch in that way through to the middle of this week, there may be somebody that you're drawn to or keeps coming into your mind that you're finding hard to stop distracting you when there may be other things you know actually you should really be focusing on. Now this week, Jupiter, which is in a very strong position for you, and of course is your ruler, traditional ruler, it's squaring up to Mars. Now Mars in the 12th house can see emotions that are unresolved from the past, particularly to do with angers, hurts, rejections, abuses, burst into the open in quite volatile ways. So if there is a situation where you feel very frustrated and don't feel heard, Saturn applying to Mercury, the planet of talk and thought, so your voice, if you're feeling a bit tongue-tied or a little bit inhibited, but there is this welter of energy bubbling inside of you from the past, then something could then have to give. And that can create an eruption. But you know, if you do ventilate your emotions and share how you feel in a powerful way, that's absolutely fine, because keeping emotions inside is really not good for us. And perhaps what Mars is trying to do is provoke you into ventilating some of those past issues so you can then move on to focus on the here and now. And also at the end of the week, the moon in Sagittarius, the quarter moon, squares up with the sun in your sign. So 110, you could try to be a little bit more authoritative. Someone could resist it. Someone can try to be authoritative with you, the 10th house. Or it could be that it's very difficult for you to disguise your emotions around some of these quite sensitive issues. So if you are working towards something, whichever part of Pisces that you are born in, that is going to give you a really solid and firm centre and a thrust around something that's incredibly important to you, just be aware that there could, despite Saturn wanting you to focus on the here and now, there could be some peripheral distractions. It could be to do with relationships. It could be to do with your past. It may be to do with someone who's no longer in your life, but your consciousness or subconscious could see something show up in a way which tries to grab your attention. Just get through this week, because you are working towards the new moon in your sign on the 10th of March, and that's going to be the point that really gives you the springboard forwards in a much more dynamic way, because it's linking in a very dramatic manner to Uranus, the planet of innovation, but also the planet of freshness. So this may be a staging post this week that is giving you some support, but may feel that you're boxed in a little bit or processing that old stuff. But it's all just a step along the pathway to that much more dynamic part of the year for you. It's been a pleasure being with you. Thank you so much for joining me. I'd be honoured if you would subscribe. Also, if you'd like to ascend above this zodiac forecast and embrace the power of more serious astrology, if you give me 3 pieces of your birth date of time, date and place, or date and place, I can produce for you your life roadmap report. This will give you searing insights into the patterns that are played out in your life so far. You can get a much more intimate understanding of how these have affected your situation, but how you can work with them more effectively going forwards. In my special package of 30% off, you also get your 12 months transit. That's the moving planets in the sky interacting with your totally unique personal blueprint. Please see the link below for more.